or die. Hey, swing those hips around. Can't stop, roll back down. My ladies, short, tall, thin or wide, always down and ready to ride.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gene. You guys are watching Primed and Lubed. Got to do a quick adjustment here. Yeah, I tried doing a shoot earlier this afternoon and it totally did not turn out. So it has been recently deleted. We are doing a retake of it. If you're wondering why I'm coming on so late. Yeah, it was an absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. So let's do a redo on it. There was actually no visual, no audio, no nothing. Anyway, welcome to December 1st to my loyal pit crew out there. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Edmonton Oilers and some of the good things that are going their way as of late. And I think the Edmonton Oilers are starting to figure it out for a change, which is really good as they are starting to gel. This is Season 4, Episode 9 for December the 1st, 2024, which means we are through November, which only means one thing. We will do a rig report on this episode. 3 wins in a row for the boys. I like what I'm seeing as they were able to win against the Rangers, a close one against Utah, and a fairly decent win against the Colorado Avalanche. And some interesting statistics that I'm going to give you with that one as they were able to finally beat the Colorado Avalanche. The poll question I have for you is basically regarding, did you like the month of November for the Edmonton Oilers? I thought they did okay. There was some things that I've said on previous episodes about laziness and all that kind of stuff and some of the goaltending issues. There was some hiccups, but we'll get through that as we dive into the month of November rig report. And if you guys happen to join me live tonight, which is kind of a rare occasion that I'm doing a night episode, I like to come on at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which means noon for you guys there in Alberta. However, again, I had a brutal mishap episode as I finally went back to it. I had a busy day, so finally went back to it, and I realized nothing worked properly, so it was like kiboshed right away. So without further ado, well, first of all, guys, I'm asking you guys to kindly hit that like, share, and subscribe button as it will help me grow the channel and bring you bigger and better things. But let's get into this episode breakdown right now, as we're going to talk about the 2 games that did occur. And again, this is another week where I have to seem to be making on-the-fly adjustments with the chroma key. There we go. Thought I had it good. I'm a one-man crew, guys. I'm trying my best here. But anyway, 2 games to play with or to discuss tonight as the Oilers played Utah for the very first time in the history of that franchise. And they played the Avalanche, 2 big wins. So they're now 3 wins in a row, which they're starting to go well. I don't need them to be like what they did last year, pull off 15 straight wins or whatever they did last year. But I do want to see them starting to win a little bit more. And actually in the standings, when I get to it, they actually jumped a few spots. So they're starting to do good. They are really starting to do good. We're also going to look into the upcoming games where there's 3. Now, the Edmonton Oilers are kind of in a phase now where the last month they were playing basically 1 week would be 4 games. The next week would be 3, 4, 3, 4, 3. So they had very busy schedules, and that's very wearing on a team when you're flying and doing all that kind of stuff. Now it seems to be slowing down a little bit, as they're going 2-3. So this week there's going to be 3 games going on. Last week there was only 2, as they had a good week off to kind of just recalibrate. But the problem is recalibrating sometimes means that, you get a little bit out of tune a little bit, if you know what I mean. So then we're going to also do the rig report. We're going to do a new poll question and final thoughts. I hope you guys can join me for some of your questions on that. Let's dive into the Oilers and Utah. I want to call them Utah Jazz. I want them to have a name. So I hope they can come up with a name, because the Utah Hockey Club, it just doesn't work for me. Like, when it comes to clubs, that's soccer. Keep it at soccer, and that's it. So hopefully we're going to hear in the next couple of months here an official nickname for the Utah team. But let's dive into that and how they did. All right, so this game happened to be a game that I think the Oilers should have had a better outing. That being said, I can't really complain. They still did win it in overtime. But yeah, I mean, it's Utah. It's basically the Arizona Coyotes of last year. Hence, they do have a few key players this year compared to last year. Mikhail Sergachev, an amazing defenseman. So there is definitely an upgrade with this club. Anyway, let's get into that game that happened on November 29th at the Delta Center in Utah, Salt Lake City. The takeaways: Edmonton didn't create a ton of scoring chances before the third period, but the Oilers were efficient in finding the right spots to attack during the pivotal second period. And yeah, that was pretty much the sum of it. Utah took a 2-goal lead in this game, I do believe. And yeah, I was like, what the hell is going on with this team, man? Like, this is the old Arizona Coyotes. They should be able to beat Utah. But Utah actually had a good outing against the Montreal Canadiens, where the Montreal Canadiens beat us 3-0 about 2 weeks ago. So they are a team that can do it. I think they will be an up-and-coming team because of the new ownership and all that. Like, I don't think Ryan Smith is going to be a lame duck owner like the previous one in Arizona. The key moment: Edmonton's offense recovered from a sluggish start late in the second period when Draisaitl and McDavid both scored on power play goals. That's right, guys. The power play is starting to come around. And with the power play coming around, this could be big things. And it definitely will show on the rig report later, as they have improved in that regard. The key stat: the Oilers generated 3 goals off of 7 shots in the second period. So this is kind of what I've been bitching about when it came to Skinner, letting in 3 goals on 7 shots. It's happening now to Utah. This is defensive breakdowns. This is where it has to be lack of communication between the D and the goaltender. There has to be a little bit more cohesiveness when it comes to communication and that. I'll tell you right now, Mike Smith, when he was playing for the Oilers at his age, looked better than Stuart Skinner does at his young age. And a lot of it is communication. Communication is a huge factor, which is going to get me to my point a little bit later on the coaching for the goaltenders. So my take, the shining light of yet another lackluster performance, is the fact that the Oilers were 2 for 3 on the power play, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins finally got his 3rd goal of the year, which happened to be the game-winning goal in overtime. Hopefully this confidence will be a builder for more to come. And guess what? It will be, because he did end up scoring another goal against the Colorado Avalanche, which I will get into that game very shortly. So my game grade for this particular game is a C+. There was a lot to like about it. The fact that the power play started rolling, the fact that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, got a goal, his third of the year, which we're already into basically, well, as of now, December, and only 3 goals for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. So hopefully we're going to see him. Hopefully we'll see Hyman come back and play a little bit stronger as well. But yeah, it's a C+ for this game. We're going to move on now to what's going around the league, the latest news, and let's get into that. Okay, so Maple Leafs Austin Matthews plans to return for the Lightning. Now, this was actually a little bit of a later one. They actually played the Lightning already last night, and I guess Austin Matthews had a pretty good game. However, there is rumors that Mitch Marner and Craig Berube are not clicking, so we'll have to keep paying attention to what's going on there. But yeah, I can honestly see Mitch Marner getting traded from the Toronto Maple Leafs by the end of the year. Columbus Blue Jackets dealt a deal with Wild. Juracek goes to the Wild. This is probably an even trade. I think it's going to help both clubs, but we'll have to see when it really boils down to. Yeah, it's. I really do believe that both of these players do need a second chance somewhere else. Devils' Timo Meier suspended 1 game for a cross-check. Obviously, first offense because it's only a 1-game suspension. I didn't actually see the play, so I can't really comment too much on that. All I know is, yeah, he was suspended 1 game. Sabres get Tage Thompson back from injury, but lose to the Wild 7-5. So Buffalo, status quo, still crappy team, still trying to figure out their way. And this goes back when Eichel was first drafted. They're just a team that just, there is high expectations with this team, but they never seem to meet there. Jordan Binnington becomes the Blues all-time wins leader as far as goaltending goes. But the big story this week, and it happened to one of my favorite guys that's on Spitting Chicklets, Paul Bissonnette, says he was assaulted during an altercation at one of his favorite watering holes. If you watch the episode of Spitting Chicklets, he really gets into the details of it. But basically, he was taking on 7 guys, and obviously, when you're taking on 7 guys, I don't care how big you are, you're probably not going to do very well. But luckily for him, he was, okay with what happened. He didn't get knocked out or anything like that, but it could have been a very dangerous situation because when you get into these fights and scraps and you're against 7 people, they're stomping on your head. They're trying to knock you out. They're trying to, and who knows how bad it could get. It could get to the point where, they end up killing you or something like that. So there's supposed to be going to be video footage coming out of this. I can't wait to see it. But apparently he clocked one of the guys that started this altercation. It was just a bunch of idiots that were at a bar that got a little out of hand. And he basically went to the defense of the staff of this facility. And it led to a little bit of a brawl inside, which went outside. And yeah, it was a pretty graphic detailing of what he said on Spitting Chicklets. So feel free to watch that episode because he does really reveal a lot. And like I say, there's hopefully going to be security footage that I can actually watch and witness that of what happened. All right, let's move on, guys, to the reflections piece of this week. And it happens to be a guy that, I relate to a lot because he was a musician, which I was back in the day. I was a drummer back in the day. But he was actually a pretty good defenseman, and he had a very unique name. So without further ado, let's get into the reflections piece of this week. For my next installment of Reflections, I'm going to take you back to the 1997-98 NHL season for the Edmonton Oilers. This is a guy that has 4 N's, 3 A's, and 3 I's in his 13-letter name. If you haven't figured it out by now, we're talking about Yanni Niemela. Yanni Niemela was a great defenseman. Offensive-minded, I would say, to a certain degree. But I took a big liking to him because he was also a musician. And at that time, I was playing drums for bands, and I was definitely into the music. So I could totally relate to him. And he would show up at certain pubs in Edmonton and St. Albert and all that kind of stuff, and just start jamming with people, which was quite cool, considering that, he is a bit of a celebrity. He is an Edmonton Oiler, but he loved his music. That being said, we got to talk about his hockey prowess and what he did for the Edmonton Oilers. He was pretty good. His best overall season as an Edmonton Oiler was the 2000 and 2001 season, where he was able to get 46 points, 12 goals, and 34 helpers. So it just goes to show you that he was definitely a player that had a little bit of offensive awareness. Let's get into his story. Yanni Henrik Niemela, born May 22nd, 1975, is a Finnish former professional ice hockey player. He played 10 seasons in the National Hockey League for the Philadelphia Flyers, Edmonton Oilers, New York Islanders, Dallas Stars, and the Montreal Canadiens. He also played in the Finnish SM Liga, Swedish Elitserien, the Swiss National League A, and the Swedish Allsvenskan, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Niemela was selected in the second round of the 1993 NHL entry draft, 36 overall, by the Philadelphia Flyers. The following 3 seasons, he would play with Jokerit, Helsinki, Finland. Niemela made his debut with the Flyers in the 1996-97 season, posting 44 points and had a plus 12 rating, and being named to the NHL All-Rookie team. In the following 1998 season, Niemela was traded to the Edmonton Oilers, where he spent a better part of 6 seasons. He earned himself an all-star appearance in the 2000-2001 NHL regular season. He was traded to the New York Islanders in 2003, and then traded to the Dallas Stars and Montreal Canadiens during the NHL lockout. Niemela returned to play in his native Finland. Niemela has twice represented Finland in the Winter Olympics, winning a bronze medal in 1998, and was on the national team when Finland won its first gold medal at the World Championships. Despite these accolades, Niemela is perhaps best remembered for Darren McCarty's deke around him, resulting in a goal in the Game 4 of the 1997 Stanley Cup Finals, in which McCarty's Detroit Red Wings swept Niemela's Flyers. Niemela retired on February 10th, 2014. Again, this one is another short one, but Niemela was... I liked him. I really liked what he brought. I was actually quite disappointed when I heard he got traded, but that's just the way it goes in the NHL. Sometimes your favorite players get traded, and unfortunately, he was one of my favorite players that did get traded. I thought we could have had him for a couple more years. Yanni Niemela will always be remembered as one of my favorite Oilers. Yeah, Yanni Niemela is one of those guys that I don't know, I relate to. I don't think a lot of people relate to all that much. Let's get into the second game of the week, which was the Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche. The Colorado Avalanche have really fallen off since their Cup win 2 years ago. to the point that the Edmonton Oilers actually finally got a win against them. And we're going to talk about that when I get into the statistical aspects of this. But let's get into that game. Again, there was only 2 games this week. The Oilers, of course, winning both of them. But let's get into the Oilers-Avs. Now, this was at the Ball Arena, and the Edmonton Oilers have not fared very well against the Colorado Avalanche in recent memory. However, they dominated this game. They made the Avs look pretty silly. The takeaways, Edmonton improved to a 3-11-1 in their last 15 meetings with the Avalanche, including the playoffs. It also ended a 6-game losing streak of 0-5-1 in the regular season against Colorado. So that just goes to tell you that the Avs had our number, and they were just ragdolling us for the last couple of years. Key moment, Podkolzin. I'm really liking this guy. He is kind of reminding me of Klim Kostin, if you will. Klim Kostin brought different elements, a little bit more toughness, but he's got that fortitude, that drive to the net that Klim had as well. Great goal. He proved to be the winning goal, and strengthening the Oilers' grip on the game as they largely controlled after the opening 10 minutes of the first period. Yeah, I'm really liking Podkolzin. I think it was a great pickup. I think Vancouver made a huge mistake letting him go. McDavid's assist gave him 34 points, 14 goals, 20 assists in 22 career playoff games against the Avalanche. So McDavid firing pretty good against the Avalanche. However, the other guys on the team were doing good, but just when you got Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, they also had Nazem Kadri for a good portion during that Stanley Cup run. You know, they were a really solid team. They're just starting to, obviously they lost some key players and key pieces. Now they're starting to kind of rebuild back. So my take is really getting to feel that the Edmonton Oilers are starting to find their game. Winning the last 3 is only one side of the story. Nuge cashing in on 2 games in a row, a much improved PK, and a much improved power play is giving me the warm and fuzzies. That's right, guys. Just before Christmas, I'm getting a little stocking stuffer from the Edmonton Oilers as they are actually starting to warm up and starting to play better. And I'm starting to lose that little concern that I had for the most part. They are really, really playing well. Let's hope that they can keep it up. And now that the schedule is very favorable to them and they're kind of playing 3 one week, 2 another week, 3 another week, 2, let's hope that they can continue carrying on. So my game grade for this particular game is an A. They did very, very good against the Avalanche, considering the Avalanche have had their number for several years now. Definitely going to give them an applause on that. And we're going to scroll back up to the main menu here, as we're going to take a look at the current state of the Western Conference and where the standings are. There has been some movement, and guess what, guys? Our boys have moved up a couple spots into 6th in the West. Let's get into it. So, Winnipeg stays status quo, number 1 in the league. They're still even. Minnesota is still even. Vegas is still even. Los Angeles has jumped up 2 spots into 4th. Dallas stays even in 5th. Edmonton now in 6th place, so they are no longer in the playoff cutoff zone. I'm just going to fix that chroma key just slightly. There we go. Apologize for that. Calgary is a -3. Vancouver is a +1. Colorado is a -2. Utah +2. St. Louis is a +2, which the Oilers will be taking on. I believe it's next Saturday, so we're going to see Broberg and Holloway against the Oilers. That should be an interesting one. Seattle stays even. San Jose is up 2. Anaheim drops 3 spots. Nashville drops 1 spot. And, of course, the worst team in the NHL, which actually is 1 point under the Montreal Canadiens, and that's your Chicago Blackhawks. And I think Connor Bedard is probably hoping that this team can finally start turning it around, but for the time being, it's not happening. Okay, so now we're going to go to the upcoming games for the Edmonton Oilers, as there is 3 games this week against 3 opponents who have previously beat them in prior games. And again, I have to fix my chroma key. I do apologize for this. I wish I could get this right the first time, but yeah, that's not good. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, so that's the wrong game, as they will take on the Blue Jackets. Okay, so, and I don't know what's going on here. Okay, there we go. So this week, they take on Vegas, Columbus, and St. Louis, which I already acknowledged to you guys. They lost to these 3 teams the previous meetings. All 3 teams they have lost to. So let's dive into the first one against Vegas. Vegas is playing very, very, very strong this year. As I'm going to pull that up here if I can. Why does it do that? Okay. Okay, just 1 second with me, guys. Oh, what is going on here? Okay. Oh, man, what is going on here? 1 second, guys. Just bear with me here as I'm trying to pull up this. They give me these info ads on my computer, and it's just really pissing me off, to be honest with you. So December 3rd, Vegas Golden Knights. Okay. Vegas Golden Knights offensively are pretty solid in pretty much every category. Their lowest stat offensively is their face-off win percentage, which is 10th in the league. Other than that, goals, they're 6th in the league. Shots on goal, 7th in the league. Power play, 5th in the league. And shooting percentage, 6th in the league. Defensively, they struggle slightly with goals allowed at 20th. Shots on goal allowed, 16th. 2nd in the league for penalty minutes. So they are disciplined. They don't take very many penalties, which is very good, but 20th in the league for the penalty kill. However, most of those stats, definitely the penalty kill trumps the Edmonton Oilers. The last time these 2 teams met, Vegas beat the Oilers 4-2, November 6th, 2024. Going into this game, the Vegas Golden Knights have a record for the last 10 of 6-3-1. The Oilers are 7-2-1. Goaltending, you got what is expected to be Stuart Skinner with a record of 8-6-2. 209 goals against average and a 887 save percentage. 1 shutout. Aiden Hill expected to be in net for the Golden Knights with a record of 10-4-2, 284 goals against, and a save percentage of 894. So, again, these are pivotal games because these are literally 4-point games. This is what could give you home ice advantage in the playoffs. Losing this game could be the reason why you never made it. Winning it could be the reason why you do. So they're very huge, huge, huge games. Let's move on to the Blue Jackets. as they will take on the Blue Jackets for the last and final time this season, as the Blue Jackets did defeat the Edmonton Oilers pretty. Why is it doing that? I wish it wouldn't do that. Give me a second, guys. Okay, let's get out of that. That really bugs me. How do I get rid of that? Okay, 1 second here. I almost have to do this all manually every time. Okay, let's get into the stats of that. I do apologize for this. I get this pop-up ad that covers up all the stats, and I can't really read them out to you, which drives me absolutely bonkers. But the Blue Jackets defeated the Edmonton Oilers October 28th by a count of 6-1. A brutal effort for the Edmonton Oilers that night. They are coming into this with a 6-3-1 record in the last 10, so they're playing pretty well. Oilers again 7-2-1. Blue Jackets on a 2-game winning streak. Elvis Merzlikins is expected to be behind the pipes for the Jackets with a 7-5-2 record, 302 goals against average, and a .893 save percentage with 1 shutout. The good stats that they have are the goals. They're 7th in the league for goals, 3rd in the league for shots on goal. However, they're 20th in the league for the power play, 20th in the league for the faceoffs, and 12th in the league for shooting percentage. So they kind of have a mixed breed when it comes to their offense. Defensively, not very good. 29th in the league for goals allowed, 19th in the league for shots on goal allowed, 16th in the league for penalty minutes, and 25th in the league for the penalty kills. So Merzlikins has been getting peppered, to say the least. But I do expect the Edmonton Oilers to have a much better outing going forward. And then on December the 7th, the Oilers will take on the St. Louis Blues, which would mark the return of Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway. Dylan Holloway I do miss. I thought he had a lot of... I thought he was going to be the guy that we were going to keep. I was surprised we didn't get... I knew that Broberg was probably on his way out because he didn't really want to play here, but I was hoping we would keep Dylan Holloway because he's kind of a heart and soul player trying to find his way. However, unfortunately, we lost both of them. Now, I don't know what the status is of both those players. I do know Dylan Holloway got hurt earlier this year. I'm not sure if he's back in that lineup as he took a puck to the throat. So I'm hoping they're going to be both back. I'm hoping to see both those guys against the Oilers to see what they can do. Without further ado, the previous matchup, St. Louis defeated the Oilers April 1st, 2024 by a count of 3-2. St. Louis is 29th in the league for goals, 28th for shots on goal, 27th for the power play, 27th for faceoffs, and 25th for shooting percentage. So the offense of this team is brutal. Defense, one slight little good aspect, and that's their penalty minutes, where they're 9th. But other than that, their defensive prowess is pretty brutal too, as they're 23rd for goals allowed, 22nd for shots on goal, and 17th on the penalty kill. Jordan Binnington, who recently achieved the record for the St. Louis Blues for the most wins, has a record of 7-9-2 this season, 287 goals against average, and a .901 save percentage with 1 shutout. I keep saying shootout. Sorry, guys. But, yeah, this should be an easy win for the Oilers, but who knows? All I'm saying is the Oilers need to look back at the last times they played these guys, and especially the Blue Jackets, and send a message, hey, like, you can't beat up on us like that. So there you have it, guys. Those are the 3 games that are going to be going on this week. And we'll see what happens. But it's nice to know that the Oilers' schedule is starting to slow down. And I think a lot of the crunching schedule is because of the Four Nations tournament that's happening, I believe, in January. So it's like the Olympics, that 2-week hiatus. They have to crunch in the schedule so they can still end it around middle of April, the schedule. And because we know it, hockey's going into June now, and it's a little too much. Okay, so let's go into the rig report for November. The Oilers have improved in a lot of ways. That being said, they still need a lot of work, and we'll dive into that right now. December 1st means only one thing. November has come and gone. So the question is, has the Oilers improved in certain statistics compared to October, where it wasn't really a very good month for the Edmonton Oilers? They actually have improved a little bit, but there's still lots of work to go on. This being the second installment of the Rig Report for 2024-25, the Edmonton Oilers have some pleasing results, however, still need work going on to December. Let's start off with their point percentage. In October, their point percentage was a C, which is definitely a surprising thing compared to what they did in April. But the Oilers did bounce right back in this stat. Only one position up from where they were in April to 13th. April, they were 12th. So for the month of November, they bounced back to a B, which is quite a significant increase from a C to a B. So I'm very pleased to announce that they're starting to go into the right direction when it comes to that statistic. Let's move on to shots for. Once again, the Oilers bounced back in this stat where they were in April. So that's good to hear, because April, we know what happened in April. It led them to the Stanley Cup final. In this stat, it's back to an A+. And it's a very minute change, but they've been pretty steady when it comes to this particular stat, which is good to see. Let's go on to the shots against, where they scored a B in October. Once again, the Oilers had a huge bump in this stat going to April, where they were 25th. Where they were 25th in April. In October, they bumped to 13th, and now they have jumped to 8 spots. So they're taking huge strides in this stat in the last 3 reports that I've done. And they are now an A in this stat for the first time. So that's always good to see. When they start getting A's in stats that they've never had an A, I'm very pleased to see that. When it comes to the power play, they were a D-. Yes, a D- from the most potent offense in the NHL. Just dull as a butter knife is what I put, because it's shocking to know you got McDavid, you got Draisaitl, you got all these good players, and they're a D- in the power play. That's what they scored in October. Not much change here as they go to a C-. So they're still trying to work on their woes. However, in the last couple of weeks, we saw some good strides. And actually, in the last couple of games, we saw some good strides on the power play. So it is starting to, I think it's starting to turn around. I think we're going to be talking some good stuff when I do this next Rig Report in January. When it came to the penalty kill last month, this was their bread and butter. Last year, this was their bread and butter. And they totally bombed in the month of October, which can only mean one thing. There's got to be improvement, right? Yes, a little bit of improvement, but they're still a D minus, still lots and lots and lots of work that has to be done on this penalty kill. When it came to the goals for, they were a D minus in October. In October, with the arrivals of Victor Arvidsson, Jeff Skinner, and company, the chemistry of the team had totally changed. You can't expect a team to gel that quickly. That being said, they shouldn't drop off that immensely either. There should be still some little bit of balance. However, they did improve in this category by a substantial bit. 2 full letters above. Now they are D plus. As let me just take a look at where they were. Let me just tell you, this is goals for. So goals for in April, they were 6th in April, 29th in October, and then down to 16th in November. So they're kind of all over the map when it comes to this particular stat. So I just hope we kind of see it settle down and we start seeing a good placing for them and a consistent placing for them. They don't have to be A's, but it'd be nice to see them in the B category, but consistently and not going all over the map. And we're going to switch up here 1 second. Okay. When it comes to the goals against, they were a C in November. The Oilers had a slight improvement, still failed to meet the standard. This would be attributed for poor goaltending and lazy defense. That's right. And I think I don't need to name names. If you watch my previous episodes, you know who I'm talking about. So we are going to give them a C plus, as it's just a slight improvement from the C that they had. A slight improvement as their goals against went from 20th to 17th in the league in that 1 month span. When it comes to the save percentage, now this is something that Renegade Man brought to my attention a few episodes ago, and he very well might be onto something, because we've gone through about 5 years of average to below average tending. This is going back to Koskinen. It's just hasn't been very solid. Now, whether this is communication between the tender and the defense, I don't know. Maybe that's a part of the factor. I don't know. But what I do know is maybe it's time to move on from Dustin Schwartz, try somebody else at the helm, and see what they can do. Because realistically, our tending should be better. It should be much better. It's not on Stuart Skinner. I think he takes the brunt end of a lot of blame, but I think there's so many other factors that come into play. And I really think communication between the D and the goaltender is a huge factor, and I don't think it's being addressed by Justin Schwartz to Stuart Skinner and maybe to his defensive coach, Paul Coffey. They got to start communicating with each other, because there's too many times we see these bad breakdowns. And again, sometimes it's laziness from the D themselves. So they were a D in the month of October. They stay a D for the month of November. So no real change there, as it was just a 1 point improvement from 27th place in the league to 26th in the league. So again, work very much needed. One of the stats that the Oilers are always pretty consistent with is the face-off win percentage. Whether it's Leo or Connor, but these guys seem to always get it done when it comes to the dot. In fact, going back to March, they were 3rd in March, 2nd in April, 3rd in October, and remain 3rd in November. So they stay with an A status quo. This is one of the stats that they have consistency on that is good. And I would like to see this with several other stats, or at least not such a massive jump from 29th to 6th to 14th. I'd like to see within range some jumps, and in the positive way. So yeah, once again, they stay at A. So, what is the average for the Edmonton Oilers? Well, they went from 19th overall in the league when you average all these stats out to 15th in the league. So, there has been a slight improvement, and the overall grade for the month of November for the Edmonton Oilers on the Rig Report is a B. It's supposed to be a B minus, actually, guys. I got B there, but it's actually a B minus for them, as they went up from a C to a B minus. So it's always good to see that they're increasing. That being said, let's keep getting it going. And we'll see you in January for the next edition of the Rig Report. So there you have it, guys. A little bit of improvement going from the month of October, which was not very impressive, to November, but they are starting to find their way. And that leads me to the next question for you guys. As far as the poll question goes, let's dive into that right now. So, are you overall, let me just fix that pixelation a little bit again on the chroma key. Okay. Are you overall pleased with the effort of the Edmonton Oilers in the month of November? Me personally, yes and no, because there has been improvement, but I don't think it was a big enough step, so I'm kind of in between on that one. Your options are nope, this team has not impressed. Some improvement, but a long way to go. Nuge, PK, power play are clicking. Very happy. So scan that QR code. It'll give you a direct hit to my community page where you can place your votes on there, and we will show them in future weeks to come. So now that breaks us down to final thoughts, and there has been some chiming in as far as you guys go. And of course, Renegade Man has made some comments. So let's get into that right now. Okay. So again, I gotta fix that. Oh, that pixel, I really gotta get that a little bit better. Whoops, oops, that's no good. That's what happens when you're doing green screen. It has a nice background, but sometimes it's shitty graphics on this. Anyway, let's start off with some of the comments Renegade Man has. Pods is playing great. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. He reminds me of Klim Kostin 2.0 ever so slightly. Klim had a little bit more tenacity, but yeah, no, I like his tenacity. I think he's been very, very good for the Edmonton Oilers and really helping the team. And I wonder if Vancouver are kind of sort of regretting letting him go. Stu has been solid when he helps the team win. The haters stay silent and no credit given. However, when the Oilers lose, the floodgates open. Even when he's not playing, he's to blame. That's the role of a goaltender, though. That's that when you become a goaltender, you have to expect the onus on you, and that's the thing that sucks because they don't get praise as much unless you're like Connor Hellebuck. Which, if you look at the Winnipeg Jets stats defensively, they are absolutely not that great. But they're number one in the league or in the West right now for one reason. Connor Hellebuck. And now he's getting the praise, but you have to be basically number one in the conference before you get any acknowledgement for your efforts. So yes, Stuart Skinner definitely takes the brunt end of the blame. That being said, Renegade Man, I really do believe it's time to give a different look for a different coach, because if you go back to when Mike Smith was there, Mike Smith was very vocal with his D. He's much older than Skinner, but he looked a lot better because he was vocal with his D of where he needed his D to be to protect the net. And that comes with experience too. I would love the Oilers to fire Justin Schultz. Oh, okay, so we're on the same kind of way, same thought process here. But the rumor has it he's married within the Cates family because every goaltender to really plays poorly under his watch. Well, if that's the case, then that's kind of shitty. I still think Daryl Cates is a businessman. He still has high expectations. But if that is the case and he's married within the family, and that could very well be, because, I mean, how many coaches have we gone through? I mean, probably he's probably been on board since Todd McClellan era. So, I mean, a lot of head coaches got fired and he's still aboard. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, once again, if you like the content that I bring, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button to help me grow the channel. As I intend on bringing you bigger and better content in the future. That being said, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this up right now. I just got to get back into there. Final thoughts. Back into final thoughts. And we will see you next week, hopefully at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as I shoot out of Vernon, British Columbia. So for you guys in Alberta, it is a 12 p.m. episode. However, today, it's a lot of hiccups. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here for tonight, and I will see you next week.